And hello, one and all, and welcome to my weekly review for this week's edition of NXT. We're going to take a look at what took place on the March 2nd edition of NXT, as we are only 30 days till TakeOver Dallas, and the build continues for that show. And I thought this week's episode of NXT was another solid addition. I thought it was an improvement over last week's episode. There was some storyline development, some good matches, especially that main event match, which we will take a look at. So all in all, an enjoyable show from start to finish. So let's take a look at what took place on last night's episode. We kicked things off with opening tag team contest. We had the Vaudevillains taking on the team of Hugo Knox and Tucker Knight. Really, this match was to display the aggressiveness and intensity of the Vaudevillains, and for that, I thought it was an effective match. Not the greatest match, just an average tag match, though I really like how Gotch and Aiden English were really able to turn things up. He really took it to Hugo Knox and Tucker Knight, who didn't really get too much offense in. The Vaudevillains are your winners after Gotch and English hit the Whirling Dervish for the victory, so I'm interested to see where their characters go in the weeks to come. Later on in the night, it was announced that they would have a match next week versus the Hype Bros. The Hype Bros cut a promo saying that, they're not going to succumb to the Vaudevillains. They're going to bring it to them just as they brought it to them several weeks ago. And then after the Hype Bros left, you saw the Vaudevillains looking and smirking at them. So they got something up their sleeve in their match coming up next week against the Hype Bros. So I'm interested to see where their newfound aggressiveness takes their characters. So we'll see how that plays out. But just an average tag match to kick things off. Then we had a backstage promo with Emma and Dana Brooke, pretty much making fun of how Deonna Purrazzo lost to Asuka, and talking up how great they are, and hopefully we will see Dana Brooke back in the ring soon. I read reports recently that she was finally cleared and made it back in the ring, so hopefully on the next set of tapings of NXT, she will finally make her return to the ring. So after this, we had Emma making her way to the ring with Dana Brooke in her corner, taking on Santana Garrett. I really liked this match. It wasn't the longest match in the world, but I thought her and Emma, put on an enjoyable match from start to finish. Santana was pretty over with the crowd, so that was good to see. Hopefully they offer her some type of deal for the NXT women's division, because I really like what she had to offer here. Like I said, Santana got more offense in than I thought she would. There were a couple nice moves here and there. But Emma was eventually able to hit the curb stomp on Santana and lock in the Emma lock for the submission victory. So despite losing, I thought Santana here had a good showing. And like I said, I think she would be a good addition to add to the NXT women's division. So Emma continues to remain booked fairly strong. I like her in this heel role. Her and Emma, they have a great partnership. And I'm interested to see where they go from here. So we will have to see in the weeks to come. After this match, we had a backstage segment with William Regal talking with Eva Marie and Nia Jax. Regal said that he had heard their interview, and he said they're right, that you are stars and you shall be treated like them. So next week it will be Nia Jax and Eva Marie taking on the team of Bayley and Asuka. And Nia and Eva just have this stunned look on their faces. They're like, oh crap, now we really got got this. How are we going to get out of this one is what I'm trying to say. So that should be an okay match, tag match. Definitely going to build up, the hype going into Asuka versus Bayley for TakeOver Dallas. So I'm interested to see how that plays into next week's tag team match. So we will have to see how that plays out. Then we had Regal, who was in the ring, and he was going to introduce the latest signing to NXT. And it was the one, the only. That's right, Austin Aries made his long-awaited debut to NXT television. As you all know, this was taped several months ago. News broke in January, and we knew that this episode, the episode of Aries' debut, would be airing the first week of March. So it was a surreal sight to see Austin Aries. During my brief time in which I watched TNA, always liked Austin Aries. I always thought he was a tremendous worker, great heel, great face, whatever role he played. Definitely left an impact, no pun intended. So I'm glad that NXT was able to pick him up. I think it will be a great addition to the roster. And as Aries was making his way down to the ring, Baron Corbin blindsided him, ran right into him, threw him into the side of the ring, and laid him out. It was a really good attack, way to get good heat on Corbin. And then Corbin looked right at Regal and said an eye for an eye, because we all know there was beef between Regal and Corbin. Regal not choosing to add Corbin to the recent matches between Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn. So what a better way for Corbin to get his one up than by ruining this moment that William Regal had intended to have happen for the NXT audience. So looks like we will be getting Corbin versus Aries. I know some people may not be thrilled at that match, but I think it could be a good match, a good addition for the NXT TakeOver Dallas card. So I'm excited to see Austin Aries in NXT. A number of tremendous matches that he can have with guys, like a Finn Balor, Samoa Joe. There's history there. A number of guys. Sami Zayn, if he doesn't get called up. Apollo Crews. Really excited to have Austin Aries in NXT. So it would be interesting to see where they go with Corbin and Aries in the weeks to come leading up to TakeOver Dallas. Then after this match, we had Elias Sampson versus Steve Cutler. Definitely the weakest portion of tonight's show, or last night's show, excuse me. I still see potential in Sampson. However, these short, squash-type matches, I don't think they're really helping him. He's not really connecting with the crowd. I think his neckbreaker finisher, he needs something better than that. It's just a neckbreaker. He is aggressive in the ring. I need to know more about his character. I need to see him go in longer matches. As I saw him do at the NXT Live event here in Pittsburgh, I told you he faced Ty Dillinger. I thought he had a good showing there. So if they would put him in longer matches, if we understood more about his character, maybe we would care more about him. But as it stands now, I see potential, but I have yet to be impressed. So that's the way I can describe Elias Sampson. And the match with Steve Cutler, he won with the neckbreaker, and it was what it was. Then we had the best match of the night. Looking forward to this as soon as they announced it. Our main event, Finn Balor versus the man that gravity forgot. Welcome home, Adrian Neville. It was great to see Neville where he belongs, not on that main roster. He was called back up to NXT, and he was right at home. Him and Balor went in there. They had a pretty damn good main event match. Early on, Neville was surprisingly, able to maintain control of the match. And then as the match picked up, they definitely kicked it into high gear. There was one spot in the match where Balor was able to pick Neville up and flip him over the top rope. It looked like Neville hit right off the steel steps, so that was a great spot. I love Neville, I love Balor, and I knew they were going to go in there and have a tremendous match, and they most certainly did. Neville, I think, did a back moonsault onto Balor on the outside, so that was another nice spot. Springboard moonsault, excuse me. And, there were some near falls here and there. It looked like when Neville was going to go up top to hit the Red Arrow finisher, that might be it, but Balor was able to move out of the way, and there was another top rope Hurricane Rana when Balor was getting up on the top rope. Neville caught him, hit him with that really nice sequence there. So overall, just a lot of nice moves. They kept the match at a good pace. I enjoyed it from start to finish, and the finish came when Balor hit the coup de grace, and then he finally picked Neville up and hit him with the Bloody Sunday, his other finishing move, for the win. And then after the match, Neville and Balor shook hands as a sign of respect. So, great main event match. Great to have Neville back where he belongs. Just keep him on NXT. I'm sorry, small rant here. They've not done shit with Neville since SummerSlam. He has potential. Give him a title run. Have him face Neville for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. Probably not going to do that, but if you're not going to do anything with these guys that you call up, why call them up in the first place? I mean, Neville has potential. He is a great wrestler. He's not the greatest promo, but he can, cut a promo. It's just frustrating, and it makes you wonder, like I said, if you're not going to use them, if you're just going to have them do nothing, just leave them on NXT. Be perfectly fine with that. But good match, and then after the match, we had a backstage interview between Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn. They were backstage together, and Joe said Sami is pretty much ungrateful, and if it wasn't for Samoa Joe, you wouldn't even have a career. It was all, Joe was talking himself up like no tomorrow, and then Sami said, the only reason that you're here, Joe, in NXT is because people like him, Sami Zayn, paved the way for him to be there. So obvious tension building up to next week's 2 out of 3 Falls match. Cannot wait for that match. And overall, tonight's episode of NXT, solid minus the Elias Sampson match. I'm going to give it a B+. Great main event. Good women's match. Average tag match to open. And some storyline development with the Austin Aries Baron Corbin attack. So, giving this episode a B+, as I said. Let me know down in the comment section what you all thought of last night's episode of NXT. Thank you all for watching this video. Please click that like and subscribe button for more video content coming to this channel. And I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care. Peace.